Well, hello. How's everyone doing today?
Hey! I'm sorry, you all caught me. I was having a moment. I was celebrating. You know, that thing you do when you're excited. I was celebrating. You know why I'm celebrating?
Why are you celebrating?
Do you know why I'm celebrating?
Why?
Because
Mm-hmm.
today is your birthday. Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Woo!
Today is your birthday.
Yes, today is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. People keep asking me, what am I doing for my birthday? I'm like, girl, it's in the middle of the week. So
it's the day of a birth, and that's what we're doing. And every year is a milestone, but this ain't a real good, like a real milestone, but it's a milestone.
right. I mean, it's the middle of the week. So, this weekend, I haven't decided yet, but I think this Friday might be
a whore night out.
Well, no, I had that today. Love Mikado. You down?
I'm always down for Love Mikado. I think Love Mikado is one of the greatest places on this earth.
I enjoy on there for this birthday, and him and Josh, and it blew their fucking minds.
It's fucking amazing. It is. But no, because I got to finish up my look for Code Red.
So do I, but we'll figure that out. So I'm after this, I'll make the reservation. So.
Bitch, you don't know. Bitch, you don't understand. Let me explain something. My look is still in this bag.
Well, sounds like you got a lot of work to do minus the 2 hours if we're going to be in Love Mikado.
So, but the good thing is, it took me a long time. And it's funny because when I talk to certain people, just in general, like when I'm around certain people and we just chat about stuff. I was chatting with the brother, and we were talking about just different stuff. And it's that creative bug. And, I was just sitting there like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I had all these questions in my mind. And I think I told you, I went in thinking I was going to do one thing. And then when I got there and I was like, oh, bitch, this shit is on sale. I was like, bitch, how much can I get? Like, bitch, what? Like, what are we doing?
You got the shoe, but that's about it at the moment.
I have the look. I just don't have it to get pieced together. In my mind, I know exactly what it is I have to do. And so that's
usually work with a glue gun to do. So keep going.
Yeah, that's usually the hard part for me. The hardest part is because I have so many options. There's so many things I want to do. I'm like, oh, I want to do feathers. Oh, I want to do fringe. Oh, I want to do rhinestones. Oh, I want to do, draping. Oh, I want to do ropes. Oh, I want to do chains. Oh, then I'm like, bitch, calm down.
Right.
Bring it back.
Narrow it down.
Like, bring it back to, because that's where my mind goes. And so it takes me this long ass time to narrow out, okay, the practicality of stuff. Like, not that it needs to be practical, but again, the practicality of, is this really what you want? Or are you just excited because you're able to do that? It's like, right. Is it going to fit the look and what's the purpose and all that type of stuff? So yeah, that's what I got to do. but I still actually got to go back and I need to go pick up some interfacing for this stuff. But other than that, I'm good. But I'll be able to do all I need to do because once the hardest part is the cutting out and the finishing.
So I'll add you to the list. So I'll do a party of 8, just in case. Okay. All right, get yourself together. So, but listen, so I started with the hot glue gun and the roses, right? And
which look good, what you showed me so far.
Yeah,
but let's be clear, it was beautiful from the beginning. It was beautiful by itself.
You and Deviant were well, not Deviant. You were right about the small roses, because girl, I started with them small roses, and I was like, bitch. And then when I switched over to the big roses, I was like, oh, girls, this is covering areas, and the glue is holding very nice. And I was afraid that it just wasn't going to stick very well because I don't usually work with glue sticks. So
that hot glue warmed the fuck up.
If it's good enough for Project Runway, it's good enough for Code Red.
Listen, Project Runway, Drag Race, every drag queen on the planet. What are you talking about? Shit.
So I have a lot of gluing and stuff to do tomorrow. So you all can't see it fully, but by next week there will be a new Gay Boy Mansion Studio B.
No, this will be Studio C for you.
Yes. So
actually, this will be Studio D for you.
Notice, I've blown it all out. This is Studio A now.
It's okay because downstairs it was 2 different setups. That was Studio A and Studio B.
Yeah, none of that exists anymore. So this is now Studio A, and then when the basement is done, I will actually build a small studio space. Because what you and I talked about doing all of this, and I don't want to. Because then every day, every Wednesday, that means I got to go. I want to have a space
dedicated.
That is dedicated, baby. So let me tell you how this is gonna go. I'm gonna set up a little corner. I'm gonna go buy some fucking used office petitions.
So you can go right on over to a thrift store and find those petitions that you're looking for.
Right, and then decorate them real nice and put the soundproofing on it. Had a camera all set up in that corner and be good to go.
Yep.
So, but yeah. So anyway, so that's that. Today was, it's fine. I didn't, I got up. A friend came over and gave me.
That's what we're calling it. A friend just came over. That's what we just.
Oh, he's not that kind of friend. He's,
Okay.
A young man had love to give. Well, no, I didn't say that. A young man. Yes, a young man had wanted some love, and it was my birthday, so I had lots of love to give. So I gave him, and all my love is waiting for you, my baby, my sugar, and all my love. Exactly. So, and then I started putting together all of these, because this shit came from IKEA. So, it's in 5,000 boxes.
Of course. But that's just the major pieces. Then the small pieces.
Yes. And so then I had to bring it all upstairs. And, if this show had been like an hour later, then I would have been completely done, because the hard part was getting these verticals up and get them to not be falling over. So then I screwed them. They are screwed into the wall and they are solid. So we are good to go. And then, the decorating and stuff will be the rest of the weekend over the next couple of weeks. It'll happen when it'll happen.
Okay. Well, listen, it's going to be amazing because we talked about these plans and we know what it's going to look like. So I mean, I'm sure it's going to be absolutely amazing because we already know you know that's just what we
I
do.
do a little something.
But so well, good. I'm glad your day was good. You had some love that was shown and thrown and gaped and pounded on and presented and all that good stuff. By the young man. All that good.
Exactly.
All of that stuff. So that's a good thing. And the day was good because you were doing some manly man stuff. You were putting stuff together. You were like,
oh yeah,
and the man Taylor. You were like,
yep. I had my level, my different drills. I had a hammer. I was doing it. I know how to do a little something.
So butch. Oh my god,
that was very butch. Listen, I was very butch.
Oh my god, it was just so butch.
I feel like Noxzema Jackson. You like my nails?
So butch. Okay.
So how was your day and how has your week been?
Listen, my day.
I got to tell you about everything else that happened, but go ahead.
Oh well, I mean, listen, my really quickly, my day was.
No, take your time.
No. I was saying my day was pretty good. It was better than yesterday. You hate those. I hate those days that start off good and then all of a sudden, in like 30 minutes to an hour, it just fucks your day up.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a conversation, an activity, or just something that just fucks your day up, and I'm like, what? So that was kind of how my day was, and so I woke up this morning thinking like, we're not going to have a repeat of that. Like, I'm not going to do that. And so I go into work today and, then you get busy. And work for me is, yes, you have a set of things that you're supposed to get done or you're supposed to accomplish. But there's a piece of my job that is customer service to an external customer, to like students. And so there's that piece that's one thing. But then there's also the internal customers, all the coworkers and everything else. But I swear to God, they wear you out. And then if you're a manager, so it's like you have your direct reports, everybody's asking you questions. So it's like you're serving people all damn day long, trying to help them to do their stuff. But then you're stuck because you can't get your shit done. And so you're like, okay. I'm like, all right. But today was better than yesterday. I was able to get some stuff done, but it was just a lot of service stuff, like just random stuff that just kind of my nerves. But again, like I said, it was better than yesterday. And the day that I was having yesterday happened to one of my coworkers. So I'm just sending her a shout out. I don't think she's watching the show, but I'm sending her a shout out and I told her, as you walk out this door, baby, listen, you better let that shit go before you walk out this door. Do not, the moment you spend more time on it after you walk out this door and you're on your way home, you'll look around, it'll be 7:00 tomorrow morning and you still talking about that or thinking about that shit. Let that shit go. I know it's easier said than done, but I need you to enjoy your evening, do something else. Go read the Bible, sing a couple praise songs, do some praise dances, whatever you need to do, but get it out your system. So, but yeah, it's pretty good. So I don't really have too much of an issue. I did notice a strange young person outside of my building that I call home, deciding to go around the back and deciding to squat down. And I was like, what are you squatting down for by the building? And then I'm sitting there thinking like, why and what? And so then as I'm sitting there in my car, because I have these moments where you get home and you just kind of sit in the car for a minute, you're like, oh, okay, I'm home, let me just sit here. I got out and I went to go look and I was like, what the fuck were you doing?
Take a dump outside?
So what I honestly think was, because I looked at the ground, because it looked like she had to go pee. That's what it looks like she had to do. She had to pee. And I was kind of like,
a woman.
Yeah. And I was just like, why would you do that? Like, just as the logistics of females peeing, unless you have some sort of apparatus where you can stand up and unzip your pants and, just go ahead and but hey, listen, but I also know that I'm not raising a young lady. I also know that women have to go to the bathroom just like men do. So, I mean, it just is what it is. But I just felt like, ooh, that was just kind of, that wasn't very ladylike.
That's just nasty, baby.
it just wasn't very ladylike for me. But it's whatever. But I kind of got a little irritated by that because I keep thinking my neighbors, I'm just kind of like, why are you letting people do things where you live? You shouldn't let people do anything that they shouldn't do, or there's a space to do some of those things that you may want to do, and then do it in your space. I don't get that. I never understood that. Littering in front of your place, throwing garbage and juices and nastiness and stuff in front of your place.
Maybe.
And
When I see people
it doesn't make any sense to me.
When I see people throw trash outside, I'm like, girl, we all got to live on this planet together. I mean,
yes.
What the fuck? I mean, they're a trash can. Like when you see somebody driving and will just throw like a cup from McDonald's out the window, and I'm like, what the fuck? I just be like, I get like, I would say irrational, but I think it is very rational. I'd be mad as shit. I'm like, you couldn't just hold on to that until you got to a fucking trash can?
Because listen,
really, bitch?
You're going somewhere where there's a trash can. All you gotta do is
in a car. You are going to end up you are going to end up wherever it is you were going to go, or at your house. At both of those places are trash cans.
They most certainly are. And
I'm like, Jesus Christ, just throw trash. And then the empty lot next to my house, people dump mattresses and shit. That's why, bitch, I'm building a fence along my whole property, so I don't have to see none of that shit. But yeah,
and I'm not gonna. When I was younger, I think I was definitely a litter bug. I'm not gonna say I'm not a litter bug now, but I try my damnedest not to do something. And when I do, I have to think about it like sometimes I'll be eating like an apple and I'm like driving past like a forest or something. I'm like, well, it's organic. I was like, okay, it's you shouldn't be doing it anyway, but at least if I throw it here or put it in this little spot, I know the deer are coming, somebody will eat it, or there's ant. Like I have those sorts of thoughts of like the rinds and stuff, but then it really shouldn't be done at all.
I don't give a shit about that. Honestly, I don't, because that's organic. That is going to decompose, or the birds are going to eat it or whatever. But I'm talking about people that throw plastic.
Well, yeah, and no, and that part too, but again, like I said, I've gotten better with that because again, like you said, if I'm in my car, it can stay in my car until I get to some place and I'll throw it away. Like I'm good. Like I can wait. So unless it's some like a mess or whatever, but whatever, I still try to look for a trash can. But anyway, all in all, the day was good, even though there was no even though, but all in all, the day was good. So, and again, I'm trying to be more gracious, just in every day that I wake up, it's like, okay, well, great. Here we go. This, I'm good. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm in. The week has been pretty good. Like I said, I've done some things, got my look together, and I'm trying to finish it out and, start it and finish it out.
Yeah, because I am probably 10% of the way done.
Listen, you 10% ahead of me. You're more like 25% ahead of me. But anyway, but yeah, it's been good. So I don't really have too much to complain about. So, so yeah, that's good. And I see that, like I said, your birthday started off with a bang, literally. So that's
and that was entirely unexpected. He just hit me. I was like, let me see what the girls is giving. So I went online, and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey." Sure.
Right. I will
come on through.
Right.
You're the next contestant on
Fill Your Hole.
See? Look at God. And then, I chilled for a moment and then did whatever. But this weekend, after most of the arrangements were made, I'm still pissed because the church where I want to do the memorial hasn't responded. It's the same church where Trayvon and Josh got married.
Gotcha.
And so I've reached out to them. Guy, the pastor, my buddy from high school, reached out to them. I filled out their form. They have not responded. So now I need to find another place. And I don't want to wait until next week to do this because I really need to I want to get this shit done because people are literally coming out of town for this. And people want to deliver flowers and stuff. So I really want to get this done. So that'll be the task for tomorrow. But anyway, so I hopped the train and went up to New York City last Friday.
You
And
was up in New York City with the wretched having big
I did.
fun.
And then so Friday I went to my my spice store, Calustians,
Okay.
and I bought like $250 worth of shit. I bought some lavender. I bought some lemon verbena. I bought some beeswax pellets because I'm going to make some beard balm.
Okay. Okay.
So home, and you use beeswax and sweet almond oil and bunch. So I bought a bunch of that, and then I bought some smoked cheddar cheese powder, and I bought a bunch of herbs and spices and stuff. So imagine, so it's smoked cheddar cheese, right?
I'm like,
So imagine sprinkling that on popcorn.
yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can see
Yeah,
it.
so like they have a bunch. They had like nacho cheese powder. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
blue cheese powder, which I like blue cheese dressing, but I don't just like eating blue cheese. But they had
Right.
like they've got a billion things. Any spice or herb that you have ever seen, they'll be like, so what we need is imported eel farts.
They're like, wait, I just got some in
And
last
then
week.
the dude, you just be like, so I am looking for imported eel farts. He was
Wait,
like,
does
that
it
is
have to
on
be imported?
aisle 38, third shelf at the back.
Does it have to be imported? Because I got the domestic stuff. It's just as good. It's
No,
just
they
as good.
really did want imported. And if we're really being specific, imported from India. You're like, okay, so that's still on that same aisle 37, except it's on the fourth shelf now.
Got you. Okay.
Mhm. So, I did all of that. And then that night, I remember that party that I went to back in September, the scum party.
Yes.
Yes. I went again, and I did have a wonderful time, but I did not lose count this time. I was at a good solid 7.
You're slowing down, buddy.
I know. Maybe I was tired because the it wasn't that I was trying to avoid sitting with my feelings. There was just a lot that I wanted to get done. And at the time, I was supposed to be going
Clearly.
back to work on Monday. And so I wanted to, I'm not talking about New York, but I'm just saying all of cleaning out the house, getting rid of the furniture, getting rid of the clothes, getting all of that stuff done because I just knew that it was going to be mess at the office.
Okay.
So I didn't want to be trying to do that and then having people calling me about funeral arrangements and whatnot. So I wanted to get all that out of the way. And then so and that bed, that mattress, baby, I will tell you there was a pea underneath that mattress. That mattress didn't. I've also gotten spoiled with
Right.
with my hybrid adjustable mattress that cradles me and so
Rocks you gently to sleep.
baby, it touches me in my intimacies. But so then Saturday morning I got up and went to Jersey to hang out with Cortez and spent some time hanging out with him. And by the time I finished doing all of that and getting back, so I was supposed to go, and I need to call him, but I was supposed to go to the celebration of life and playroom opening with at Steel Toes place for Boy Forge.
Okay.
But baby, I was supposed, so by the time I got back from seeing Cortez and shopping, because if you've ever been in New York and needed to go to Jersey after 11 p.m., between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., or anytime on Saturday or Sunday, you know that the path don't take you exactly where you need to go. The path takes you, so like to get to
remotely close to.
well, no, it gets you where you need to go,
Yeah.
but like if it had just been on a work day, I would have just caught the train and then gotten off right there at Newport, Pavonia, right there, right outside of the Holland Tunnel and all of that. But because it's on the weekend, the train goes to Hoboken first and then comes back and goes all the way around. And then so I had to do that back and forth. And then, baby, you know, DC, we have a luxury in escalators because, girl, I looked at my steps. And so by the time I got back to my hotel room, because I was going to rest for like 2 hours before I needed to get up and get back over to Jersey, I had walked like 12,000 steps and climbed the equivalent of 17 flights of stairs getting to Jersey and back. And then I was like, so now I got to do this again to go to Steel Toe's place, but at night. And I'd have to take an Uber because Steel Toe don't live close to a metro. And I was just very tired. Like,
sounds about right. 17.
I had walked 17. You ever climbed 17 flights of stairs?
Actually, yes, I did, because where I went to school at, the building that we have, the tallest building on the campus, called the Cathedral of Learning, it was 24 flights. They used to have a race every year. They would run up to the top and run down and all that stuff. I did it one time.
Never win that race.
No. I wasn't participating in the race. I just did it so I could say I did it, and I did. I won.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so I just realized. So we got it because I see someone in here I want to recognize, but we never said hello to all of the friends. So we got Eccentric.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Hold up. But when you're saying that, listen, Desmond, bitch, where you been? Where you been? I ain't talked to you in like 2 weeks. Where you been?
Oh, this is
me, him, Rashida. I expect a call from Nene. That's it.
Continue on. Awkward. So Lola and Desmond and Grace, and I saw Greg and Trayvon.
And who is this new entry into the fold?
So that's who I was going to say. Sir O is a friend of mine from LLC.
Now, I like the way this name sounds, though. Sir.
Yeah, she's our I was going to say, I didn't know if I could say your government name, but she just put it out there. And Sir O is Nia, a really cool person that I work with at Leather Leadership Conference. Kind of person that you could just be like, I have the vaguest idea of a flyer that I need to put out, and I have 10 words. Springtime in Paris. And she will be like, perfect. I know exactly what you need. And she will pump out this flyer with marketing literature and everything. She is amazing. And she's a really cool person too. And she is also the person who gave me my wigs the first time I performed, or lent me wigs the first time I performed when I was in Atlanta. Now, if I hadn't had to come back from LA,
was that your 8-minute mega mix, the concert you did with the lights and the cape and the lights? Is that what we're doing?
That was one of them, yeah. But that was the hair wasn't the key thing for that. The hair was the feature player when I did I have nothing.
Tina Marie.
I Am Changing. I couldn't remember the song. When then I had the scarf on, and I took the scarf off, and then I had the wig, and then I took the wig off. Yes.
Okay. So, I just want to make sure. Welcome, Sir O. I appreciate you being here. We definitely love to have you come in every single week. Come hang out with us. Come on, hang out with us.
And bring a friend, as it says at the bottom here. Like, share, and subscribe.
Absolutely. We absolutely love to having new people come on, and we want to hear what you got to say. And we want to laugh and joke with you, because I'm sure you got some funny stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah. And so Sir O is probably going to, at least I mentioned it to Plain Jane about them coming to Blackout. And one of the things I need to do in the next couple of days is finalize the plans for New Year's for the cruise, and
Yes.
they said they wanted to. Well, at least play. Jane said that she would go, and she said Nia would probably come as well. So,
Okay.
I mean,
So
Nia's a totally independent person, so she ain't gotta go. But we would love to have her. The more, the merrier.
welcome to you both. So I think I saw you say and Nia too, but yes, welcome to you both. And I
No,
also
Nia is Sir O.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, got you. Because I saw
Yeah.
the and Nia, and I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, okay, but listen, welcome. But wait a minute, somebody else is in here that we haven't seen in a minute. Mr. Tucker, good to
Hey,
see you.
Chris.
Good to see
Everybody
you.
loves Chris.
Everybody loves Chris. Trayvon, no. I was not. No. I was not in my Miranda phase. I was more like in my Starkeisha Light phase. That's what I feel like. Like it was the origin story of Starkeisha. Like
Gotcha.
That's kind of that's the phase that I was in.
And so to wrap it up, so I was just wiped out. So my knees were giving me the blues after climbing 17 flights of stairs. And so I was just like, so I think I'm going to stay in Manhattan tonight and just literally not do anything. But my hotel was literally right next to Grand Central Station, which, funny enough, all of the dozens of times that I have been to New York City, I had never been to Grand Central Station.
Oh, baby, it's a lot.
I was like, this is gorgeous.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's beautiful.
I was like, this is amazing. So even just walking around a little bit, and I got dinner and stuff and brought it back to the hotel. And so that was that.
Okay.
And then on Monday, I was all set. I had my bag packed and everything. And I got up on Monday and I was just like, I can't do this. I really need more time because I was just not in the mood because I just knew somebody was going to say something crazy to me. And, I was just like, ciao. So I called him and I was like, I am taking this week too.
Listen, let me be clear. As someone that has had this experience, maybe do what you need to do. Don't rush back into nothing. If you don't feel like it, you don't feel like it. Will that feeling pass? Absolutely. But I also know that we are at a point where it's like, baby, I don't really give a fuck about too much. I just want to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah.
Once that's okay, then everything else I can figure out. Like I can, I can fucking make it.
So. And also because I didn't get I just felt like I kept moving, and so I needed some quiet time.
That part,
because technically I did not work last week, but every day I was like, all right, so today I got to get all of the clothes, cleaned up and out of the room. Then and those are like, my sister had a lot of clothes. So then it was like, all right, so then I got to go buy boxes, and then I got to box up all that clothes. And I was 17 boxes of clothes to get rid of.
I feel so much judgment right now.
What?
I just do. I feel so much judgment right now.
Judgment about
just the amount of clothes. I feel so much judgment. If Kendra has 17 boxes of clothes, I know good goddamn well. Probably twice that.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that too. I was like, damn, this is, and then, it's a lot of clothes, and then getting all of that stuff down and out of the house, and then getting furniture prepped to go to the dump, and making like 3 or 4 trips to the thrift store. And I discovered a new thrift store that I like better than Goodwill, because Goodwill just seemed like they take so long and they like judge you. It's not like they judge you, but it just feels like at this thrift store, they just had these big rolling tubs out. You just dump whatever the fuck it is in the thing, and they just give you a receipt and you keep it moving. And the transaction just seems, I think because everybody don't know that they do donations there, it's always like a line at the Goodwill. This
One of the
place I
locations,
always roll up to. It's the thrift store over on Annapolis Road across from the Walmart.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, Value Village or whatever it is. There's a
Yeah.
thrift. There's a donation.
Grace and I were out there we were out there a couple times. We were doing some listen, I love Grace to death. Baby, when we go to the thrift store, baby, if you don't know what you're looking for, Grace is gonna do what she's gonna do. She's gonna find, but baby, when you get finished looking for what you look for, be like, Grace, you ready? Wait a minute, I just got these 15 things to try on. Be like, bitch, come on. See, but my spot is Second Avenue. See what I'm saying? She will have 15 to 17 items.
So yeah, and that's about it. And this week has been much quieter than last week because I purposely didn't do a whole lot. But then I was like, I do want to redo this office, and so this is probably the best time to do it. So
listen, if again, take care of you. If that's what you want to do. That's how you want it. Then do it. That's all it is.
Yep. And then yes, and I will definitely be going back to work on Monday. Mainly because, baby, I gotta make up some leave because now, it's not. This is not how I wanted to get this time, but I had been planning that I was not really going to be doing a lot of traveling for reasons, but now my schedule is wide open. So my schedule is as wide open as my pocketbook, which is not really very wide open. So.
Listen, I'm having a brain fart, but I'm just remembering because when Trayvon just posted that, congratulations, you two. I just meant to say that earlier. I didn't get a chance to say that to you, but congratulations.
Oh yeah, they are just about to be homeowners now.
Yes, I just want to say congratulations. I'm
ecstatic. And poor Josh is losing his shit. I tried to tell him, I was like, listen, this process is. They will ask you for the same document 100 times. You'll be like, they'll say, we want 2 pay stubs, your last 2 years of tax returns and everything. You'll give them all of that shit. And then like 3 weeks later, they'll be like, can I get that stuff? And I'm like, they'll be like, I sent it to you before. It's like, I know. Just
listen. I think it was matter of fact, it was 007 who was telling me. He said, bitch, he said, listen, get whatever you need to get when you go through that process. It's like you need a duplicate, triplicate, because they're gonna ask you for the same shit, just like you did, same shit over and over again. Somebody gonna say they didn't get it, they lost it, they're gonna need it. He said, even the day you're supposed to go pick up your keys, something could go wrong, and you might have to push it back a couple days. I said, oh my God. But I remember, I even remember with my cousin when she was purchasing her house. Her real estate agent called her and was like, baby, what are you doing? She was like, what do you mean? She said, you just made this purchase. You did $900. She was like, I had to buy tires for my car. She said, I don't care what you do and how you do it, but you need to take this off of your credit card statement. I was like, well, damn. So listen, I get it.
Well, I got you even worse. So I was on March 30th, I will have been in the Gay Boy Mansion for 16 years. The longest I've ever lived any place, because even we didn't move into the house I grew up in Clinton until I was 6 years old. And I mean, I moved out when I was 18, and yeah, I came back to stay, but I never lived there permanently after my 18th birthday. So I only lived there 12 years. So this is the longest place I've ever lived someplace. But anyway, we were supposed to close on like March 22nd. Then, they say, all right, it was the 23rd. Then they were like the 24th. And then they were like, listen, it's not going to be till the 26th. And it wasn't like the day before, but it was like in the week before. It kept moving. And then each time I was like, okay. And then I was like, great, March 26th is my birthday. So perfect. Then on like the 25th, they were like, yeah, we're not going to be able to do this until March the 30th. And I was pissed. And so I bought myself a car.
You clown! Why would you buy a car?
Now, the only reason it wasn't an issue was because it hadn't shown up on my credit report. So they were my real estate agent was like, "What the fuck do you mean you bought?" She didn't say what the fuck. She was like, "What you bought a car?" I was like, "I needed something. The house was supposed to be my birthday present, but we didn't get the house, so and I need a car." And she was like, and she looked at the mortgage broker, and he looked through. He was like, "It doesn't show up on your credit report yet, so just don't talk about it when we have the closing table." So,
Oh,
and
oh my
then
God.
so we closed on the 30th. But see, that also fucked me up was because I was renting, and although the people I was renting from, I feel like if I had said I need to stay another month, they were fine. But I hadn't because we were supposed to
Move
have
and close.
moved and done all of this. So here we are, me going from having like a week to move because we were supposed to close on the 22nd, which would have given me 8 days to slowly pack all of my shit and move. Now I had all of my stuff packed, but now I had 1 day to move it all. And for whatever reason, I packed all I had my office had just moved, so I had access to like hundreds of those perfect size moving boxes.
Oh, you mean like the banker boxes?
They were a little bigger than that, but it was 4 office moves.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay.
And so, of course, here I am with all of this shit. It was all packed, but because the move had to occur so quickly, they just dumped all of the stuff in the living room. So there are all of these identical boxes, which I, of course, did not label because I had just packed, and then it was work and other stuff happening.
Baby, listen, I just want to put a pause and put a pin in this for a second. Bitch, first of all, let's just go back. Let's rewind this. Dominion did not label a box. Let me say that to you again. Dominion
I feel like this is you're trying to say something
did
here.
not label a box. Can you imagine? This is the motherfucking man that has a motherfucking label maker on his fucking phone and labels every goddamn thing he has.
And
He didn't label a box.
And so, why do you think I developed that habit?
I'm just saying, like,
because I literally had 75 or 80 identically sized boxes sitting in my living room. And the reason why that wouldn't have been a problem was because initially I hadn't even planned to hire any movers because I was going to have 8 days to move. I was just going to like rent a car and move the shit, and I would have moved the shit out of the master bed. I see the sass eccentric, and I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna put a pin in that too. But I was going to move shit out of the master bedroom into the car or the van, and then move that shit into the house and into the master bedroom. So everything didn't need labels on it because it was going to move out of the room that was into the room that it was going to go in the house. But we ended up not having time to execute that plan. So when we closed, and I couldn't schedule the movers because I didn't have a place for them to move the shit to. So when we closed that morning, because they moved my closing 5 times. So I couldn't schedule the moves until I got the keys.
That is correct.
On the 30th. So I had to move on the 31st, everything. So they picked up all them boxes and moved all those boxes to the house. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I have labels on everything.
I'm telling you, I just can't even imagine it. And here's the thing. I'm not even like, I can be anal about certain things, but moving, because I've moved so much in my life, baby, I can look at a box and tell you what's in it because I know, especially if I've packed it, baby, I can tell you everything that's in that box. But oh no, down on the left hand side over here, because again, that's just how this helps.
So here's the thing: if they had sort of followed the order, but again, I didn't notice, and the whole moving plan went to shit.
I'm sure
if everything had gone like I planned, it would have been organized. But for whatever reason, they just were quickly taking stuff off of. Oh, that was right. I'm remembering this was 16 years ago. They were supposed to be at my house at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Ciao.
Them bitches didn't show up until like 11:30. So they were 3.5 hours late.
But they wanted their full pay.
Then they tried to rush my shit because I had them from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. They got there at 11:30. Yes, my shit was packed, but then they had to move all of the stuff, put it in there, and they were still so 8 to 2 is 6 hours. So I hired a mover for 6 hours.
And they tried to move and do all your stuff and shit in
2 or 3 hours. So instead of, putting the stuff in the right, all of the boxes was intermingled. So I couldn't been like, the first 15 boxes are for the master bedroom. So I had to literally, and it ended up being fine because it was like, what's in this box? Okay, great. I'll put that into this room. It ended up not being the most terrible thing, but yes, this is why I have labels.
I get it. I absolutely get it. I absolutely get it. And moving is one of those things where and even, Desmond will tell you, and even the best friend, when he comes in, Manga will tell you, baby, listen, I got this thing down to a science, baby. Listen, especially all those tiny cars I had, the way I pack stuff in it and had to move stuff. But when those movers come and they want to slide your shit around and they want to be paid, like, okay. I remember one time I had called a mover and I had to move like that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like a local company or whatever. And they came and I was like, okay, I hired them for that block of time. And I said, this is what I need, these 4 hours or 6 hours or whatever it was. And so they were just taking their time. They were just going up. They were just like, do. They're like picking up one thing, like, do. I was like, okay, great. That's fine. We got to my place.
The fucking house is packed up, girl.
Wait, we got to that place. And I was like, okay. So they were taking stuff off like, do. And I said, listen. And at the time, I had cash in my hand. I fanned out this money in my hand. I said, let me tell you something. This is all the money that I have. So if you go over this, you are not going to get paid. So I'm going to need you to unload this truck ASAP so that I don't have to pay you more than what I have, because I don't have any more to give you. I said, what I can offer you besides this cash is maybe a bottle or two of liquor. And literally, when I say they moved so goddamn fast, it was like, and I still gave him the bottles of liquor because I was like, thank you, I appreciate it. But the problem was I then had to move the shit from the first floor to the third floor, which is where I was so fucking pissed off.
Well, how'd that happen?
They was trying to get the motherfucker off the truck. I only had like an hour left.
Oh yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. Oh, and the last moving story is when Kendra moved into her apartment in Laurel, from whatever it was, this bitch was on the 4th floor of a four-story walk-up. And so she's always had 17 boxes of clothes and all assorted other shit. So I was like, all right, I will help you move. And, because it's like, I need to move. And, I was like, all right, Kendra, I will help you move. And I was so worn out because no elevator. So every piece of furniture and clothing and bicycle and cookware and precious knickknack had to be trudged up
all 4 flights of stairs.
4 flights of stairs.
And then you got to come back down the 4 flights of stairs.
And then you got to come back down the stairs and get the next one. Yeah. So when we got done, I was like, so when you move, bitch, I'm giving you money.
Listen,
for the mover. I am not moving in a single thing. And so when she would get deliveries, baby, she would have to, them delivery drivers would be like, I beg your pardon? So,
Hmm.
any huge. So yeah, so that was that. So it's been a good time. This office will be ready, and the new Gay Boy Mansion will be ready for viewing next week with episode 290.
Cool.
Can you believe we only have 11 more episodes before we get to episode 300? And we're going to do it big for episode 300.
300!
It's going to be in-person show for episode 300. So get ready. More details of that will be coming soon. But it'll be probably the week after World Pride. So it'll actually be the weekend of Epic's birthday.
Racers, start your engines.
Yeah, actually, and I think we said we were going to do that show on a Saturday, so it may actually be on your actual birthday on the 14th. So everyone bring a paddle because everyone will get to beat Epic.
That's a lie for God. That is a lie for God. Let me just be clear. As of 3:30:91 at 8:02 p.m., there will be not another motherfucking paddle or spanking or anything at all. Ever.
I don't know about all that, but sure. All right, so I got a few
Yes.
You didn't think you could get your GED. You didn't think you could get into college. You didn't think you could get into law school, but you did all those things. We always look at the mountains ahead of us, and we forget the mountains behind us were just as hard to climb.
Whoa. We got to start writing this stuff down.
You didn't think you could get your GED. You didn't think you could get into college. You didn't think you could get into law school, but you did all those things. We always look at the mountains ahead of us, and we forget the mountains behind us were just as hard to climb.
that came across my timeline. I've never watched it. It's called Mom or something.
It's called Mom. The fucking show is hilarious. We talked about this last week when you showed the clip. The fucking show is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's one of my favorite shows. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, all I was just going to say is that because it was another clip we watched last week.
No, it was this one.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, my mind is bad.
That's all right. Okay.
But yeah, I totally forgot.
Listen, that's okay. But it's the message. The message is clear.
It was just it was just so on point to me, and I was just like, we really do, because we tend to focus on all of that negativity, and Absolutely. It's like no, the mountains in front of us may be big, but we climbed a lot of mountains to get here.
Abso-friggin-lutely.
So this is one, and I really want to hear. I know I want to hear what everyone says, but I want everyone to listen to this, and I want to hear what the women have to say about this, especially because this was crazy to me.
Am I the asshole for refusing to do anything around the house because my wife insisted on staying home with our child?
Mm-hmm.
This one feels like a trap. Does it feel like a trap to you guys?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not involved in it.
I, 28 male, have been with my wife, 27 female, for 4 years, married for 1. I'm an electrician and she's an accountant. I make about $60,000 a year and she makes about $55K. 7 months ago, we had our first child. My wife was supposed to go back to work 2 months ago. She took the maximum maternity leave her company allows, which is 6 months, which she started 1 month before labor. When it was time to resume work, my wife told me that she would feel guilt and sadness if we put our child in daycare. Therefore, she wants to stay home with him. I suggested therapy, but she's very persistent and says nothing a therapist will say will change her feelings. At this point, it seemed like I had no choice, so I started calculating how much I would have to work to compensate her income. I usually work 45 hours a week, 9 to 5, and without her income, it would have to be at least 65 to 70. 10 hours a day, every day of the week. I told my wife how grueling it would be, and she tried convincing me by saying I must sacrifice for our child, and she would do all the childcare and housework, and I wouldn't have to do anything around the house. Even without any housework, it's still very extreme, but I reluctantly agreed because I felt like I had no choice. So it happened. My wife resigned from her job, company policy, if you don't come back, you get replaced. And I picked up the extra hours. My day starts by going to the gym at 5 a.m. It's the only thing keeping me sane. And then I would work from 7 to 5 and get home at 5:30, absolutely spent, and I would just take a shower and rest. During the first month or so, my wife kept her word and took care of the housework, but then she started expecting me to help her around the house, and I would remind her of our agreement, and she would look annoyed, but move on and do it herself. 2 days ago, she told me that she's tired and wants me to make dinner, and I flat out refused, and I told her she's breaking her promise, and made it very clear that she shouldn't expect anything from me when it comes to housework. She looked furious, but she got up and made dinner, and since then, she's been giving me the silent treatment. I'm full of anger and resentment right now. At first, she got me taking 25 more hours a week, and now she's breaking her promise and trying to manipulate me by giving me the silent treatment. I'm losing my mind.
Thoughts?
You said we want to let the women chat, chime
Well,
in.
so as the women type what they say, but I would particularly be interested in what everyone says, but particularly Grace and Nia and Lola, what you all think about this. I mean, I have Lola says, well.
So while you all are typing, I'll go ahead and share my thoughts on this. I'm kind of torn because I understand that caring for a person, a child, is a full-time job in and of itself. And so while you are at home caring for that child in this space, in this place, trying to keep this house and this life together for yourself and for this child and for your husband, I get it. It can be a lot. I don't necessarily know if I was the person that was going to leave my job and say, this is what I'm going to do, if I would have volunteered all of that. But since you did, there is a small point that he is making. However, I do feel like you have to look at it also as your spouse is taking care of you and your spouse child. And so there's a certain amount of responsibility that as a parent, you should take on. Going to work is great. Yes, going to work makes you responsible and getting a job, but that doesn't make you a parent. It does make you a provider, but it doesn't necessarily make you a parent. And I feel like sometimes people forget about the hands-on part of being a parent. Yes, you are providing, you're having a roof over your head, you're making money and all that type of stuff. I get all that, but sometimes you just have to be a parent. So I'm kind of torn. But again, I do feel like you were explicit with this deal and you were explicit with what you were and were not going to do. And so, but I also acknowledge that sometimes it can be overwhelming. If you ask for help, you should get some help. So that's it. I didn't answer a question to say whether I'm one side or the other. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff in there, but that's what I'm feeling. So that's what I'm feeling right now.
So Lola said she wanted to hear what the wife had to say, but they had a deal. In order to earn the money, dude has to work more. She needed to pick up the slack. Then she said perhaps hire some help. And then she said also, when is dude actively parenting? I think that they both went into this without thinking it through fully.
That part.
But listen, I know women who, I've never had been pregnant and don't know what that experience is like, but I know women that are like, I cannot leave this baby. And so some sacrifices have to be made.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like either of them is happy. So we might need to renegotiate what the arrangement is. Because he doesn't say he doesn't spend any time with the child, although I don't know how that happens. But he said that she started asking him to do housework and cook dinner and something. He was like, no, you said you were going to do all of that in exchange for me working all of this extra time, because they were making about 100. He said he was making 60 and she was making 55. So they were making 105,000. She stopped working, which I'm not mad.
They were making they were making 115,000.
Sure. All right. But their income almost got cut in half.
Yes, that part.
And so they have the bills of a person or a group of people who is making 115,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlikely, unless you're making $500,000 or more, because even if you're making like $250,000-$300,000, you got $253,000 worth of expenses.
That part.
When you start making more money than you could possibly ever snort up your nose or whatever. So if you're not making $500,000, you're just broke at a higher level. So my point is that it's unlikely that they were living so far below their means that he had to go back and pick up all of these hours and essentially work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week in order to make this whole thing work. And so for her to then be like, yeah, I don't feel like cooking today. But he can't say,
I don't feel like going to work today.
We all agreed, however reluctantly, that you wanted to stay home and take care of the baby, which I'm fine with.
Mm-hmm.
But that means that my responsibility is to bring home the bacon. Your responsibility is to fry it up in the pan.
Like Anjali, I can bring home the bacon.
Anjali,
fry it up in the pan.
Anjali, and still never let you because I'm a woman.
Anjali.
And so, yeah, is he the asshole? No. But no, he's not the asshole, because on one hand, yes, he is right that this was our negotiation, but y'all are also married. Y'all also have an infant. So you can't just be like, bitch, it's your turn to wash the dishes and I'm not going to wash it. It's, you're not just roommates. You all are in a committed relationship with a child. Right. So sometimes you can be right or you can solve it.
That's the difference. Because listen, they're not going to be happy.
They are going to be totally happy, because I'm going to be like, listen, I get that you don't always like cooking, but I don't always like getting up at the crack of fucking dawn to do whatever. So we're going to have to renegotiate this thing. So either you're going to have to figure out a way to work from home or do something, or, because I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still have to come home and cook and clean, unless we was both doing that. And we agreed to that, but we had this arrangement and you don't like your end of the bargain. And your end of the bargain, I'm not at all saying that it's easy to be a stay-at-home mother. I'm not saying, especially to an infant who is probably not sleeping through the night and all of that. I'm saying it's a lot to that, but you all had an arrangement, and you can't just one day decide you don't want to live up to your end of the bargain because he can't decide one day that he's not going to go to work. So I would love to hear what Grace and Nia have to say about this, because I honestly feel like my opinion is shaped by,
I guess our male privilege at this point.
By our male privilege. And so, never having had any, kids. Actually have kids. I've never had children. So never having had to raise and take care of and, be exhausted at the end of the day and still have to cook and whatever, I don't know what that's like. So I can only speak from the lens of my privilege, even though I can understand that. So I'd love to hear what y'all have to say.
Yeah,
but
that'll be good.
in the meantime, we're going to move on to some Instagrams.
So please drop your comments in the chat. I don't know if Nichelle's in here, if Tyra came in, Grace, Lola. We would love to hear what you have to say. Oh, and Sir O.
Yes.
God. It's gross. Oh my God, is that a dead body? Oh God. It's grotesque. I know it. It's what? Yeah, like repulsive. Like it's gross. Grotesque. Oh my God.
Baby. I am that person because I have heard someone be like, yeah, it was grotesque. And I was like,
grotesque.
What? Because at first you're like, bitch, did I? Because sometimes people say shit and it be like funny, like when like sometimes, sometimes I'll come into a room and be like, I have air evade, and you'll be like, did this bitch mean it like a joke? But then you look at their face and they be like deadly serious, and you're like,
but listen, let me tell you what I do. I look at people that way when people say, we was conversating.
And I get it because you think conversation, the root word is conversate. But no.
And the sad part is they actually put that fucking word in the
dictionary. So now people, but that feels like a capitulation to stupid people. So
anyway, but yes, but then you feel bad because you're like, I gotta, because I've had this in that whole thought, that Ally McBeal moment where you're like, okay, if I say it this way, it's gonna sound this way, but if I say it this way, it'll sound this. I'm trying to be, so it's like, okay, and then you're like, grotesque,
right?
It's like, oh, is that how you pronounce it? Yes, but if it's somebody I don't like, bitch, grotesque, is that what you meant?
Read the girls, and there's this TikTok where the guy was kind of trying to pronounce a word, and he was like, "Could I have some more chamomile tea?" And his friend was like, already texting the whole group, and he was like, "This bitch just said chamomile. It's chamomile."
Oh God.
Or no. Here you go. Remember where you were when you first found out it was pronounced Givenchy and not Givenchy?
Well, hold on.
Well, I'm sorry. I there was a while when I said Givenchy because I did not know better.
I think that, I think because of the gays, I think that was kind of I think the word for
you
me,
grew up with different gays than I did. I didn't really gays,
but the word for me was Moschino.
How were you pronouncing it?
Maraschino.
Baby, you have added extra consonants. Extra letters.
Listen, that's it.
I don't get it. What's so bad about Amadeus? Or did he say Amadeus? Or maybe she's saying Amadeus because I would read you if you said Amadeus too.
Not Amadeus. Oh God. But the other part of this is too, listen, we all come from different areas, and so sometimes the accent or colloquialisms of just in general, you don't understand it. Like there are certain words that people say in DC or in Philly that you first of all, you know where they're from, but then it's like it's how you pronounce it. It's just like, what? Like, hey, what? No,
Right.
They didn't mean that. But you got to take that into account sometimes.
Right.
Ooh, hey, kid.
I just thought that ass was just like, wow.
It's like, hey, cakes.
Right.
My nigga, it is 2:30 in the morning. I don't got time for this. I'm outside of a gate gas station. And there, bro. Oh my God, bro.
Wait a minute. Is this Jacksonville, Florida?
It is 2:30.
Well, here's my thing. Where he's like, I'm in the wrong part of Jacksonville. I was like, no, bitch, you in the right part. And how the fuck did you get there?
Wait a minute. Because I missed all. Listen, Grace. If this is going on in Jacksonville, baby, then we need to go back because I missed all of this.
And I'm just like, you know, when people be like, oh my God, what are they doing here? And I'm like, yeah, bitch, if it's so repulsive to you, how did you find your way here?
Bitch, why is you here? Why is you here?
Right. You know, because apparently this is where, you know, the girls pick up trade. I mean, you know.
And I swear for God, when we were there, of course, I was on the interwebs trying to find, you know, a couple cute spots, and I was trying to find where the black gays go because, you know, some of the larger clubs tend to be more techno and have less people of color, or like just the music just ain't right. And I'm just kind of like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, but I do want to see a good drag show, but I was like, I don't want to go to the bar, and it's not giving what I needed to give. I need this type of shit right here. If I'm gonna go to a gay bar in Jacksonville, baby, I need to come outside as giving this. I'll be like, okay, bitch, I'm home. I know how to operate in this.
That man makes too much money. I don't know who that is, but I believe he is. He's apparently if I'm to believe this Chiron, he's in his 22nd season as Liberty University or some university's head coach. So that man make enough money, baby. And this is what our barber be trying to do. He be like, let me just. I'm like, no, girl, you are not painting on my face. I let him do it once, and it actually didn't look. It wasn't like that, but I was just like, girl, no.
So
you just at some point in your life, you just got to get into what God gave you,
baby. Listen, this is what. First of all, I think that when that spray is used properly, it does accent and make it stand out and make it look good.
So right, but you have painted on that. You painted that scalp, honey.
Listen, Lola's being nice and looks like he got plugs. No, he looked like he got hit with a can of shoe polish. That's what he looked like. But okay, but here's the thing: we all know one of these people.
We do.
That's all I got.
And you know, this is the kind of thing that's okay if you're only being seen from afar. Because can't nobody tell from 100 feet away that area might not be full in there. But baby, that's no. And I know his wife and his kids. But see, here's the thing. Depending on who you hang around with, all your friends do that same shit. So they all like, yeah.
Baby, listen, I have too many stylists and barbers and just gay folk and just folk in general with style. They'll be like, no, bitch, wait a minute. Like, I'm having moments with myself, and my hair is white. And I'm having moments with myself saying, like, bitch, it's just too white. It's too much. And I feel like it's getting, like, I'm having moments. And but this right here, once it starts going away, baby, I don't know if I have a choice. You can't say but so much. You might as well just cut it off. Listen,
This is what I mean, you know, I was in my 20s when we pledged our fraternity. We all shaved our heads as a celebration. And then you know, I was in school. It was Florida, so you know, it's like, all right, we're gonna start doing this on the regular. So we started shaving our heads in the summertime because you know it was hot and whatever. And then it would just be thinner and thinner on the top. But I had like a full head of hair. And then one day my barber was like, "You getting real thin on top." I was like, "Well, that's it." And I didn't go to the barber for the next 15 years because
listen,
all I had was a goatee. Remember, and you knew me before I had the full beard. I used to just have a goatee, and I was like, I'm not going to a barber to have him line this shit up and then, you know, shape it up. I only started going back to the barber when I started growing facial hair again.
Listen, I put that money.
But if you zoom in, the lower part of his hair is gray. This is too much.
Listen, the story of my
this could theoretically, and the way this person zoomed in, God bless his ministry. But I mean, some people do gray at the temples and still have more black hair, but it's just this hard line, and you can see that they've painted on this man's scalp because of the reflection there.
And for me, I was probably just the opposite. Like at this particular point, it's more white than anything else. But at one particular point, it was darker all around my edges than it was in the rest of it. So I'm waiting. I'm watching my uncles on my mother's side, like my mother's brothers and that whole side. Like I'm watching them because I feel like this hairline is getting ready to go eventually. However,
because you're about to be 54 years old. If your hairline was gonna start doing this shit, it would have already started. It's not gonna start at 54. This would have started in your 30s. You would have started having this widow's peak in your 30s.
Here's the thing: when it go, and I can't. There ain't nothing I can do about it. Like that's where we are. But I did have an uncle, a great uncle, my grandmother's brother, who because I saw somebody put Lola talk about the toupee. Uncle, so I have an Uncle Paul and I have a great Uncle Paul. Well, my great Uncle Paul who passed, he had this toupee, and baby, it was the worst one because it was all black up here, but then from here down, it was gray. And you saw the
on top of his head.
You saw the clear line of demarcation all the way around. So as he got older and he also got sick, he was in the bed. So the first time I saw him without the toupee, I was like, what the fuck happened to Uncle Paul? Like, where the fuck what is going on? He took that toupee off and put it on the. I said, what the fuck is going on? Then when he got up afterwards and he was starting to feel better, he put that toupee back on. I looked at my mother and I said, Mom, see, that's your uncle. Your uncle was walking outside with this black hat on and these white cyber.
Listen, you just have to get into, especially when it comes to your hair. You know, I'm glad I grew up in a time. I'm glad I was born in the 70s and not in the 50s, because other than Telly Savalas, wasn't nobody in the 70s bald.
Oh, there was plenty of people that was bald.
Okay, so yes, there was a few, but no one really popularized it like Michael Jordan did.
That part.
And so, you know, so I grew up right around that time. So, of course, in the 90s, it was totally fine to have a shaven head because, you know, it was a style then. But baby, yeah, all of this, because I knew that baldness was coming to me. So when that barber told me, first of all, I'd already seen it, but my father was bald. All of his brothers are or were bald. His father was bald, and my mother's father was bald, as was, you know, remember, Calvin, his twin brother Coolidge was bald. Herbert and Hoover were also bald, and as were Teddy and Roosevelt. All of them were bald. So
yeah,
it was no like, what?
And male pattern baldness is on your
mother's side,
your maternal grandparents' side. So yes, so I know that his hairline eventually started going back, but he was like 70, late 60s, early 70s when it started going back.
Really
My
going back.
father and my father's father, like he would, Pop was cool. He would just slick that thing right on back. He would slick it all back, and it was like the pieces up here were holding on, but they was slick. But you could tell it was going back. But in the back had the little curls in the back. But Pop was mean. Pop was like, that shit, talk that shit. Talk
Right. This is me after them 17 flights of stairs. Because the thing is, right, you know, because it was Saturday afternoon. So as you're going up the flights of stairs, there's a million people on the train, so you can't go slow. Because it's people behind you, and you could feel them. Like if you're going slow, you could feel them. So you're like, oh God, I'm just going to power through this. But baby, bitch, me. And then you can't even stop right at the top of the stairs because it's a sea of humanity. So you gotta like walk until you can find like a piece of wall to grab onto or something.
This camel is wearing me out. No, I picture it. I ain't gonna say no names, but one of my friends in this live right here, uses an inhaler, and so picture it, 1990 something, out at the little club, a beat drops, and you feel like you getting your life, and then somebody gets in front of you and they want to challenge you, baby. That's when you decide you can't breathe, and all you hear is. Right. And so here I am on the sideline, like, do I have a bag that has his inhaler in? Because what the fuck? Like, what? Because I knew he was not going to be shown up by this person. Right. I knew it. But baby, when he got finished, he was like, ha! Ha!
Maybe just grabbing a wall.
Then it was the ha!
God bless.
Oh, yes, God. Oh.
أنا بتراب عظم العصر ما ينسي آخرتك عظام وين ما بالي غير دمعة عين نركض لناكل خبز بس الخبز ياكل فينا وين ما ضل فينا أي حي الكل بتراب عظم العصر ما ينسي آخرتك عظام.
Yes, they just put them extensions right under her hair, did not blend it in or nothing. That is diabolical to me.
So
that hairstylist hates her.
So the problem is you got West African and then you have Malaysian in the back.
Right. Them two textures don't. It's what was remember Reno 911? It's like you got Sri Lanka in the back and you know Ethiopia in the front. You said those two continents don't mix. See?
This ain't working. And listen, I know she paid a grip for this money because first of all, this hair is beautiful. It's beautiful. But she paid a grip for this, and it looks like it may have even been some individuals, like little clips or whatever, or like, but girl,
and he literally just did that and dropped it. He probably didn't even process this hair on top or nothing.
Well, that is processed.
To try to make it work.
Listen, she needed a Bantu relaxer on that shit. That's what she need. But okay, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay.
When they tested it, the audience hated her so much for, coming between that perfect little family that they felt she needed to be punished even more. So they came back and they told me that they're going to reshoot it. She was not a psychopath. So when they came back to me and said, no, she's going to attack the wife and and I said, I won't do it. I went, dude, that's not who that woman is. I called one of my great friends at the time, and he said, you've made your point. Now you've got to
Go with
the
it.
team. Go with the team.
Let go.
Let go.
So what she did was like, bitch, you need to get your check. But this is misogyny at work. So I'm gonna have to disagree with Miss Glenn Close a little bit. Old girl was a psychopath.
She absolutely was. What are you talking about?
But to be like she broke up that happy little family, like, no, that man cheated on his wife.
She was also very sadistic.
No. But those are two separate things.
I'm just saying she was also very sadistic. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm saying that, when for audiences to be like it was her fault for breaking up a happy home and not his fault for breaking up a happy home by sleeping with another woman who just also happened to be a psychopath, is crazy work to me.
Listen,
because if he had just kept his dick in his pants, your buddy would still be alive.
That part right there, that's the part that got me. That was the sadistic part for me. You literally boiled this baby's bunny. Now, we're not even talking about the roller coaster ride with the baby. We're not even talking about that. We're not talking about the fact you broke in the house. We're not talking about any of that.
Oh, listen, David, I love you. And by the way, David, we did receive your email about Onyx stuff. So I will be getting to that. Just hadn't gotten around to it yet. So that information was received. But baby, this is what happens when we deal with the younger people. He has no idea.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? What film is this? What are you talking about, David? David,
we will be putting together a curriculum for the young gays.
David, like,
This movie is called Fatal Attraction from 80 something with Glenn Close and Michael Douglas.
David.
But listen, we was all young once.
We were, and let me be clear. There was a lot of things I did not know, but I'm not gonna say I was curious. I was so fucking nosy that I just had to go and see because baby, I would have never gone into West Coast Video's adult room if I had known what was in there. Because I feel like when I walked in there, then I became entangled in some mess, and that started my life down a path.
Sure, girl.
I'm gonna need you to go with me here. I mean, like, really, like, can you just support me just one time? Just support me. I mean,
we will expect you to have watched it by next show and come back with your 30-second synopsis or your thoughts on the movie. Because listen, Fatal Attraction is a really good movie. So,
and wait a minute. So let me do that. So listen, David, not only do I want you to watch this movie, and I agree, you need to come back and give us a quick synopsis of this. I also want you to take a look at another classic movie that's similar to this, but even a little bit, but a little twisted in a different direction. Watch this, and then also watch Basic Instinct. Because I have a feeling if you didn't see this, you probably didn't see Basic Instinct either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been a really long time since I've seen either of these. Right. But yeah, we should start doing reviews of old movies.
That's cute. We could do that. We could do a synopsis of it, like as we're playing, different scenes, and we can do that. Everybody, how does everybody feel about that? Because that's something we
got to figure out how to do it, right? Because we won't need this channel taken down because we're posting movie clips. So I got to figure out how that works.
That part we can post clips of the scenes, right?
That's what I'm not sure if we can do screenshots.
Or Lola!
What?
Lola! Listen, I will also
you ever fuck on cocaine, Frank?
Listen, I will say that when I was a young gay and I was new to the financial aid world, I had a young lady come into my office and Basic Instinct me.
Really?
Listen, and I was sitting there like,
she thought you was gonna give her money because if you showed her her pussy.
Baby, no way. And she walked out. I was like, Chef, bitch, what the? Oh.
Maybe not next week, but soon, once we figure out the logistics.
All right. So I think we probably
the old movie Fatal Attraction came out in the 80s.
Listen, we stop, because I'm having PTSD because one of our brothers does the old school clips, and I'm having trauma because when he put Jill Scott up there, I was like, what the fuck? Listen,
Fatal Attraction came out in 1987, so that movie came out almost 40 years ago.
I'm not. We're not gonna call. We're not gonna. No. Dylan. Nephew. Not only listen, David. I'm gonna need you to come and give us a synopsis next week. Dylan, I'm gonna need you to turn in 2 book reports. One on Basic Instinct and one on Fatal Attraction. I'm gonna need you, Dylan. I'm gonna need. Come on, get up. Yes. I'm gonna need. Yes.
We'll be taking no questions on them. How dare you? Who do you think you are, sir? Who do you think you are?
Okay.
Anyway, last one.
Okay.
Oldie but goodie.
Heard about it?
Huh?
You heard about it?
There we go.
Thank you. God.
And you're gonna always get it again and again and again, because these bitches can't motherfucker get off of MC Deborah. Let me tell y'all motherfuckers something.
What? Right. Let me ask you, heard about it?
Huh?
You heard about it?
There we go. Thank you. God. And you're gonna always get it again and again and again, because these bitches can't motherfucker get off of MC Deborah. Let me tell you.
And you know how you do stuff and you don't realize where it comes from. How many times have I done that? Like people will be taking a photo and I just casually saunter up and stand in the middle of the scene, and then I was like, "Bitch, I got that from MC Deborah."
I have news for you. That is not derivative of MC Deborah. That is just in your makeup. I just want to let you know that.
I was trying to. Okay.
I just want to let you know that is of your makeup. Listen, I'm here for you. I'm gonna support you, but I'm not gonna let you lie on yourself.
This doesn't feel like support. It feels.
I'm not gonna let you lie on yourself. I just want you.
It doesn't feel like support.
Right. And Joshua, yes, MC Deborah forever. Because when I tell you that motherfucker is one of the craziest motherfuckers on the planet, but he is sweet as the day is long. A beautiful soul. No furniture.
What?
But if you never pay attention to it,
I've never met her in person, so I've never.
Every video you see, not one piece of furniture at all. At all.
Hold on, I'm trying to get the.
I love the person, Sylvan or MC Deborah, or Mother Romeo Meekley, or Sylvan Leviticus, or Sylvan Mizrahi, or Sylvan. The bitch is crazy. Love her to death.
Hold on, I'm trying to find the video.
So David, what else is on your list? You have Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct. Dylan, I'm looking forward to your book reports on both of those. Thank you so much.
Exactly. And don't disappoint us, Dylan.
Oh, Grace put in there a thin line between love and hate. Now listen, there was some crazy in that. I feel like for me, that was one of the first times that people saw a good black crazy.
Yes.
Because there was a good black crazy. Yeah.
Let me give her some bundles. The same bundles that she's been having past week. Let me give her a new style, a new hairdo, a new cut, a new color. That color and raw girl, that's a synthetic girl. She needs some oil, She. Hey, yo. Let me give her some bundles. The same, because bundles that she's been having past week. Let me give her a new style, a new hairdo, a new cut, a new color.
So if you ever hear someone say that, you know exactly where that came from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeedy.
Yes, I love her so much.
She crazy.
So, you got some stories for us, baby?
I do. Listen, this is our show. We can take as long as we want to, but I'm gonna try to get through these real quick.
Hallelujah.
But listen, all right, we're gonna jump into this. So listen, did y'all hear about the OnlyFans model that was charged with murder? Michaela Rylarsdem, I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right, professionally known as Ashley Sincal, Assley Sincal. She was charged over the 2023 death of Michael Dale, according to a criminal complaint obtained by E! Dale, 56, allegedly reached out to Rylarsdem, who was then 29, in March of that year, and paid her $11,000 to perform BDSM acts in his home near San Diego the following month. So Dale appeared intoxicated upon the OnlyFans model's arrival, and she fulfilled his request, including wrapping him up like a mummy in saran wrap and gluing a pair of women's boots to his feet, per the affidavit. Now, 4 hours after the encounter began, the mother of three called 911 and proceeded to perform CPR on him as first responders arrived. When detectives examined her cell phone, they discovered videos featuring Dale, who at that point was struggling to breathe, that police said were taken for OnlyFans page, according to the outlet. He had duct tape over his mouth, a plastic bag over his head, more saran wrap around that, and then duct tape wrapped around his face and head, securing all the layers to his head. He also appeared to have had saran wrap wrapped around his neck tightly. The affidavit said that Dale's head was sealed in a bag for at least 8 minutes, and Rylarsdem told police that she had never engaged in fetish behavior before the encounter and denied placing anything over his head. Paramedics transported Dale to a local hospital where he was pronounced brain dead the following day after being taken off life support. As for Rylarsdem, she has pleaded not guilty and is being held without bail at the Las Colinas Detention Center in San Diego County. So we shall see how this is going to roll out. But I will say to all my kinky people, baby, there's this process called vetting.
Right. And, you know, she could have had this whole scene if she, because, you know, this is why you got to be careful of the shit that you see online. And this is something that I used to say to not just my slave, but anybody. He would show me this shit that he would see online. I was like, girl, that was a picture or he'll a story and be like, yeah, ain't nobody maintain a stress position for 4 hours because you just not going to happen. And even when people have like something over their whole face, there's always a breathing hole. She could have had that whole scene and just had, you know, a fat straw in his mouth and told him to breathe through it. And then also, bitch, you have a pair of scissors so that the moment you were in distress. So, I mean, I feel terrible for him and shame on her for going that far with something you would never done. That's why whenever people ask me to do something and I'm like, girl, I do not know how to do this. And, oh, well, you can try with me. I'm like, because you don't know what you're doing and I don't know what I'm doing. If I don't know what I'm doing, but you know what you're doing, you can at least guide me and be like, slow down, go faster, this hurts or whatever. But if neither one of us knows what the fuck is going on, that is a recipe for disaster.
It ain't happening because, baby, I'm not going to go to jail. It ain't happening.
I'm not about to be arrested for attempted. Bitch, you remember the scene with the stainless steel ball? Bitch, if I ain't going to, that wasn't even going to go to jail. But
bitch, no. I'm here to tell you, bitch, I had the whole thing worked out in my head. Bitch, I had the whole thing. You were so motherfucking amped up. He was like, bitch, I gotta find, I'm looking, I got it. I was like, bitch, what? It's like, listen, I got it, bitch, I got it. I had the whole story got in my head. I was like, this is what we're gonna do.
So what was we gonna do?
I was ready, bitch. If we had to go into this hospital and explain any of this shit, bitch, listen. I was getting ready to have this whole conversation about how we were here for a conference and we are here for this metallurgic conference and we were playing with these items and this is what we.
I would have just told the truth because the ER doctors always say just tell the truth about what the fuck is happening because you didn't do nothing illegal happened.
It did not, but the problem was I did not want it to be a thing where this was a malicious act or this was something that somebody said, oh, well, he did it intentionally and then there was damage. And I was just like, no. We got to explain how this happened as an accident. I just wanted to build that as an accident. That's all I was trying to listen.
So for those of y'all who don't know the story, back at MAL, 5-6 years ago, I had fallen in love with these stainless steel balls. They're 1 pound solid steel. Mm-hmm. And in all of the videos you see, you insert them and, the bottom pops them right back out.
They were probably the size of pool balls, I think, or were they a little bit larger?
The size of pool balls, but they were heavy because it's 1 pound of solid metal.
Yes.
And so I was playing with my sub, who was still a sub and a friend of mine and a friend. And we popped it. We did other stuff, popped it in, and that girl did not come back out. Because some people's anatomy doesn't go straight on. His had like a curve off to the side. And when you felt in there, you could feel it just off to the side, but it was at an angle where you couldn't get behind it and sort of pop it back out. We did all we literally got a shoehorn, we got a spoon, we got a butter knife. And at some point after I called Epic and Volt and I'm panicking, and by call them, I mean go next door because this was happening next door in another room in the hotel. And, we was about to get ready to go. He said, before we do this, we're going to sit on this toilet and do it. And I'm just
like, oh, Lord.
What is we going to do? All I hear, boing, and it popped out. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus.
You wouldn't have some Onyx Punch.
And he was sucking dick 5 minutes later. It was no damage. He was totally fine. He was not mad at me. He was like,
he had to relax.
We were
his
muscles.
Right.
So yeah. So anyway.
Okay. So listen. You probably have heard some of this nonsense going on the interwebs. Sherry Shepherd apparently had a little confrontation with someone, and this happened, or this dramatic scene unfolded when she was going to see Othello on Sunday in this. Where was she? I can't remember where she was. But anyway, she was in New York. And she went to go see it in New York City on Broadway. So she got into this encounter and talked about it on her show. And she said what happened, but she never said the celebrity's name. And so she would also say this unnamed actor or unnamed actress or whatever. And so she said that when she was there, she said that the actress, she grabbed my arm and forced me to turn me around and said, "You've been shading me a lot." And Sherry was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "No, I haven't shaded you. What are you talking about?" She was like, "Yes, you have." And Sherry was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what?" So Sherry then said that she had to think about what happened. And so she was like, "Now, wait a minute." She said, "I know goddamn well, like this is, I'm interpreting what she's thinking." She's like, "I know goddamn well I ain't shaded this person. I know what the fuck." She said, so she said she had to get herself together. And she said she went into the bathroom and she was waiting for her because she wanted to have a little meeting in the ladies' room with her because she was waiting for during the intermission. She said she got to go to the bath. Like she was thinking she got to go to the bath. She's going to come up in here and I'm going to have this conversation with her. But she said she waited 15 minutes and she didn't come. Well, Page 6, the other news rag decided they pieced some things together and they announced that they were speculating that it was actress Nia Long. And so what Sherry said when she told the story, because she told it on the show, was that, "Listen, I didn't shade you." She said, "In fact, when some bad stuff came out about you. She said, I kind of defended you. She said, but here's the thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer you the chance to come onto the show, sit on my couch, and we can talk about it. But baby, when I tell you the interwebs are in a kerfluffle, because there are so many people that are now talking about how Nia Long is perceived amongst the community. And a lot of people were saying that she's really kind of bitchy, witchy, whatever. And so I was just like, wow, like, okay.
It's just like, Nia, you've been in this game long enough that people gonna talk about you, and you actually gonna be fighting bitches in, outside of a production of Othello. I mean, that just feels like unnecessary to me, and you're just making another story. So anyway.
But here's the thing. So, Nia is from Brooklyn and Sherry's from Chicago. So I listen, if it's gonna go down the way I think it's gonna go down, I don't know who I got my money on, because they both about the same size. They knee high to a grasshopper. So we're gonna see how it's gonna go down. But I might have to give the edge to Sherry just because she got a little bit more up top. So I don't know. But we're gonna listen. Hopefully we don't get to that particular point. And I think they're actually cool. And there's no one that has actually said it is Nia Long, because again, all these things are alleged. Because again, this is what Page 6 reported. A lot of people are talking about it, but again, it's alleged that it's Nia Long. Nia made some other cryptic posts on Instagram or Facebook or some other social media page. She was saying, she showed a picture of herself saying, I had a decent night or whatever, but whatever. So we'll see. Exactly, Dylan.
Dylan posted from Chicago. And you know what? What I'm gonna say to that? I'm gonna look right in the camera. Bitches from Chicago get their ass beat all the time.
That's true.
Whenever people say, you don't fuck with so she from New York, I was like, motherfuckers from New York get their ass whooped all the time.
Listen,
I'm from Maryland. Now, I've never gotten my ass beat, but I'm just saying.
I'm here to watch the conversation, the dialogue, and if it turns into something messy, I'm here to watch that too. I don't want it to, but I'm just saying I'm here to watch it. I'm just reporting. So, in that same vein,
just report it.
Yeah, just reporting it. In that same vein, there was another moment between two other, do I want to say celebrities? But
two other known personalities.
Known personalities. Okay, we'll say that. So it's between Craig Stewart and Tamar Braxton. So there's been videos going around. It's on YouTube. You can check it out at any particular point in time. But Craig Stewart is actually the person that is the co-host of a show called Fag Talk, PHAG, with T.S. Madison. And so if you know anything about T.S. Madison and Craig, that they've been best friends or close friends, or at least, showmates for quite some time. And he's the male presenting person behind T.S. Madison. I'm saying that only because I don't necessarily know if we're saying that he's gay, that he's trans, or whatever. But again, Craig, that's
it's
actually
Fag Talk. He is a homosexual.
So yeah. So anyway, he got into an exchange with Tamar at a recent live taping of their podcast, where Tamar refers to him as girl and bitch. And so while she didn't mean it derogatorily, she also went on to a couple other platforms and a couple other shows, and even in print in a couple different places, saying, listen, I'm an ally. She said, I hang out with the gays. She said, this is how the gays talk to each other. She said, I support the LGBTQ community. She's like, this is how the community talks to one another. She's like, so I didn't do anything wrong. Well, the problem was Craig was very clear about, I'm not a girl. I'm not a bitch. And every time she said something, she was like, and she does that thing that most of the kids will do, girl, bitch. Listen, that's what she was doing. And Craig was like, no, I'm not a girl. No, I'm not a bitch. And again, they were having this exchange. So anyway, once they had this exchange, and then apparently the next day they had, or later on that day, they had kind of smoothed it out, I guess. Got to a point where they felt like they were okay. Craig went live and talked about a few things. I think Tamar even went live and talked about a few things. And basically they were saying that everything was smoothed all over.
You know how people don't have money? You know how you can tell people when people don't really have money? they don't go live when they have money. Do you ever see Beyonce or Rihanna or even you don't see people in that level. You don't see Taylor Swift going live to clap back at somebody. Because girl, you could have all of this could have just been like whatever. But I feel Craig because
Well, hold on, because there's more to the story. Hold on.
Okay,
hold on.
sorry.
So here's the thing. Like I said, she went a couple different platforms and was saying that they were both saying that everything was okay. Because like I said, Craig had went live and was talking about it. But again, she then went a few days later, she went on to another show and she then talked about the little clash and she kind of doubled down on it. And so she was like, she felt like her comments were apropos or fitting for the environment. And she said at one point that she took this interaction as a teaching moment, but was it really? Because you still got on there and you double down and was like, yeah, I'm gonna still call him a girl. I'm gonna still call him, you know, I'm still gonna call him bitch. And
you could have just let it go and just been like, you know, by continuing, it just all seems messy to me.
But then Craig, being the co-host of Fag Talk and the homosexual, got back on and suggested that they really hadn't had a conversation. They really hadn't made any amends. And how Craig was basically saying that Tamar is really taking advantage of her closeness to the community and trying to use lingo that's not necessarily used outside of the community. And so there are some people that feel like he's making a mountain out of a molehill, but he feels very strongly about it, so he's going to keep on talking about it. And again, like most people, if you feel like you feel that strong about it, baby, you're going to keep on talking about it. But again, Craig is basically saying that they did not make any amends to this particular issue, and he's still going to talk about it. And the issue now is that Tamar is now thinking about taking legal action if he still continues to talk about this. And I'm like, how are you going to take legal action in this? But just messy.
This is why I'm like, it's messy and unnecessary and all of this. I'm just, I think Craig has a good point because Tamar, and you remember, I don't think either of us really watches Real Housewives anymore, but remember when Nene had that gay friend?
Yeah,
they got into it.
I see his face. He's the hairdresser, and he also
No. I'm not talking about Dwight.
Oh,
because that wasn't Nene's friend. I thought that was Sheree's friend. But no, she had the friend that got into it with
Apollo
or something. And Nene said some real nasty shit about her supposed gay friend. And it was really sort of iffy. And this is why I keep certain kinds of people at arm's length.
I've had this conversation with my friends, and my friends know how I feel about it. And I've had my conversation with friends that some of them are a part of the community, some of them are not, some of them are allies. If we're friends and I feel like you know me and I know you, there's an amount of respect that I have for people, even in how I joke with them. You and I will joke with each other to us, like just to others would be like, oh my God, that's awful. But that's our level of respect and how we joke with one another. I'm never going to say some off the wall junk about, your mom or your dad or your, you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to do that because I know that you wouldn't do that for me. And that's the whole thing. If you know a person, you can have those moments, but if you don't, then you probably shouldn't have those type of moments, and definitely not in public.
Right.
But anyway,
So just because you, Tamar, with some of your gay friends, y'all call each other girl and bitch and whatever.
Oh, Grace said he was Phaedra's friend. Okay, the guy you're talking about.
That's what made it issue was because I don't know, whatever it was, Nene said some out of pocket shit for someone who's supposed to have like a gay best friend. So that's all I remember from that. But you know, like, yeah, you and I be like, girl, bitch. But if I just meet some random person on the street, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Unless we meet in a certain kind of environment where we've already been having that conversation. But I just don't randomly go around talking to people like that. And I feel like you're stereotyping by assuming that every other black homosexual that you meet is going to be like whatever. And even if you see him, because let's be clear, that is how he talks with T.S. Madison, but you're not T.S. Madison.
That part.
And so I just think that some people get overly familiar too soon.
And that was his point. So
yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna go on and talk about it really quickly. We have some famous birthdays this week. Film critic Gene Shalit is 99. Actor William Shatner turns 94. Our beloved Dominion Onyx, he has a birthday. He turns 84 today. Paul Michael.
Slow down. Don't make me remove you from this studio, girl. What did you say, bitch? I saw what you posted. I saw it, and I was gonna wait for you to say something crazy. And you see. Anyway, go ahead with whatever you was talking about.
Paul Michael Glazier from Starsky and Hutch is 82. Diana Ross turned 81. Elton John turns 78.
Diana Ross had the same birthday.
Well, this is within the past week. This is not just today. This is within the past week.
I know that, but I'm saying Diana Ross's birthday is actually March 26th.
Okay, all right.
And it was yesterday.
I got that. I got that on here. So
well, then get to it then. Shit.
Elton John turns 78. Andrew Lloyd Webber turns 77. Steven Tyler turns 77. Ernest Thomas from What's Happening is 76. Vicki Lawrence turns 75. Martin Short turns 75. Sportscaster Bob Costas turns 73. Shaka Khan turns 72. Baby, why did I think Shaka Khan was older than 72? But okay.
Yeah, I thought she was much older than that.
Because not that she looks it. I just thought she was older than 72. But okay. Actor Robert Carradine turns 71. Lisa Gibbons is 68. Stephanie Mills is 68. Are you kidding me? That's all that she is? Like, and again, it's not that she looks older, but she just has this presence that she feels like she's been around forever. Matthew Modine turns 66. Jennifer Grey turns 65. Star Jones turns 63. Lisa Gay Hamilton from The Practice is 61. Sarah Jessica Parker turns 60. Now listen, say what you want about Sarah Jessica Parker, but the bitch is always done and dusted. This bitch be so motherfucking clean for the majority of the times. It's even shit that I don't even like. I'd be like, it's so motherfucking clean. I don't even like it, but bitch, it looks good on you. But anyway, Michael Imperioli, turns 59. Kenny Chesney turns 57. Laura Flynn Boyles, 55. Actor and comedian Keegan Michael Key turns 54. I didn't know we were all the same age. Laz Alonso turns 54. Leslie Mann turns 53. Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory, Sheldon, turns 52. Randall Park turns 51. Alyssa Hannigan turns 51. Guillermo Diaz from Scandal is 50. Ooh, I'm going to rob that motherfucking cradle because, baby, when I tell you, Hutch could get it. Reese Witherspoon turns 49. Kelly Shaneen Williams is 49 as well from Family Matters. Peyton Manning, NFL quarterback or former NFL quarterback and TV personality, turns 49. Michelle Moynihan, Amy Smart, and Kerry Russell all turn 49. Jessica Chastain turns 48. Gossip blogger Perez Hilton is 47. Auto racer Danica Patrick turns 43. Catherine McPhee turns 41. Keira Knightley turns 40. Dancer Val Chernovsky, baby, when I tell you I used to have a crush on Val, baby, I'd be like, Val! Not Val, his brother Maxim, excuse me. Maxim! Oh, okay. Maxim was the shit. But anyway, it's not his birthday. And then also, rapper Big Sean is 37. Some other popular birthdays were Robert Frost, Tennessee Williams, Leonard Nimoy, Sandra Day O'Connor, Alan Arkin, James Caan, Jack Ruby, Gloria Steinem, Aretha Franklin, Harry Houdini, Fatty Arbuckle, Steve McQueen, Louis Anderson, Chico Marx, Marcel Marceau, Stephen Sondheim, and James Patterson all share birthdays as well during this past week. Didn't have any social media slays, but I did want to point out a few news of the weird stories, which I found absolutely just humorous. there's one called Bad Behavior. A team of 9 scientists in this Sine 4 research station in Antarctica have been upset by the behavior of one of their group. This was reported by the BBC. The team left South Africa on February 1st to spend the Antarctic winter at the station. But on February 27th, one person was accused of physical assault. Another team member wrote an email describing the quote-unquote deeply disturbing behavior and a quote-unquote environment of fear. Since then, the South African Environment Ministry said it immediately activated the response plan in order to mediate and restore relations at the base. The alleged perpetrator has willingly participated in further psychological evaluation, has shown remorse, and is willingly cooperative. In addition, that person has written a formal apology to the victim. If I didn't say so earlier, someone was assaulted by this particular person. So I wanted to make sure I put that part out there. There's another story called The Passing Parade. It says it wasn't a robe or a phone charger left behind in a room at the Pine Rivers Motel in Sheboygan, Michigan. Instead, when the cleaning crew arrived at the room, they looked under the bed and found Wally, a really friendly alligator. What? The motel manager said he had no idea that the alligator was one of the guests in the room. He called the guest, who said he was taking Wally to elementary schools and showing him the children. But when he got up that morning, he couldn't find the reptile and assumed he'd gotten out. And the manager said, you really couldn't miss it. He's about 3 feet long. But the owner drove back from Detroit and picked up Wally that evening.
Baby, the way I would have freaked out.
Baby, that belt and them shoes situation would have been on and popping for me. A 50-year-old Detroit man who uses a wheelchair tried to kill a cockroach by throwing his shoe at the pest. Unfortunately, the loaded revolver he had hidden in his shoe fell to the floor and discharged, hitting the man in the foot. He's reported to be in stable condition after going to the hospital. No word on the cockroach's condition, though.
Yeah, that cockroach is fine.
Americans abroad. Listen, a couple of Americans visiting Dublin, Ireland as tourists for St. Patrick's Day felt the wrath of the Irish after they tried to stiff a carriage driver. And then there was a video from the scene showing the driver chasing the 2 men after their horse and carriage ride. And when he catches them, he whips them with a stick and demands, "Pay me now." After several more strikes with his whip, one rider pulls out his wallet and says, "I have money. I understand. But even after he's been paid, the driver whips them a few more times, to which one replies, "I'm sorry, we learned our lesson." Don't go out of the country and being an ass to people. Do not go out of the country being an ass to people. This is why people have this view of America that they do. You're out here in these streets acting an actual ass. But okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Another story: least competent criminals. An unidentified man in Northeast Philadelphia was nearly electrocuted and suffered third-degree burns as he tried to steal copper wiring. When he broke into a transformer box and cut into the live voltage wiring, he knocked out the power for about 1,500 homes and businesses. The victim is in critical condition with burns to his face, neck, shoulders, chest, arms, and hands. But the day before, another copper thief suffered similar burns and actually caught fire. So you didn't learn from any of this? But okay.
Maybe he is lucky to be alive, because that could have gone. I mean, it did go south.
It went south.
All the way south.
It went south. It just didn't go to hell, but it went south.
Right.
But anyway, so this last article was, where did I put my sense of humor? In Memphis, Tennessee, on March 10th, 5 men were taken into custody after they emerged from their car at a busy intersection and started twerking. 4 of them danced around the vehicle, while a 5th danced on the hood. Each was charged with obstruction of highway or passageway. So the 4 people, Mikkel Sanders, Rashawn Bryant, Mondraco Mays, and Desmond Sudbury, were all arrested, but were all released on their own recognizance. Jordan Smith had an outstanding warrant for vandalism and was fined $2,100. Now, I put the story in here because I remember a very young gay in his early gay years coming to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area in the rental car that I think 5 people chipped in on, and blasting all the gay club music, getting to a stoplight, and one of the kids decided to get out the car and starts dancing in the middle of the street and does a split across the hood of the car in the middle of downtown DC. That was one of the funniest things I'd ever witnessed in my life, and I swear for God,
that young gay was you?
That young gay was not me. I was not doing a split in the middle of the street in downtown DC. I was not, but listen, I was here for it though because it was cute. I'm just saying.
Gotcha.
But it was not me. It was actually best friend's cousin, who is no longer with us, Marlon. So rest in peace to that bitch, because he will jump out in a minute and do some things. But that story reminded me so much of my childhood as a young gay. But in any event, that's all the stories I got for you all this week, and that's where we at.
Well, all right. It has been fun. With me putting together this furniture and shit, I really haven't eaten today, so I'm about to try to get a little bit more work done and then have a late dinner and then enjoy the rest of my night.
Yes. Oh. So listen, Grace, tell Ma Sandy I said, hey, boo.
And hopefully we'll see some of you all this weekend at Code Red.
Yes. Nichelle, are you even in here? If you're not in here, I'm going to text you because I need to figure out what you want to do with this ticket because you have a ticket that's going to be waiting for you. So, but anyway, as always, thank you all so much. We absolutely appreciate you coming and checking us out and entertaining us with our shenanigans. And hopefully you all can add to some shenanigans when we ask you guys questions and about things. We'd love to hear from everybody. This is a sharing and caring environment. We want to know what's going on with y'all, just like y'all want to know what's going on with us. So, but again, you all can do anything and could be anywhere, but we're glad that you chose to spend this time with us, and we definitely appreciate it. So thank you.
Thanks, loves. I'm looking at podcast studios trying to figure out what we can do because I have some ideas. So
okay. And listen, let's not forget, let's wish the birthday boy a happy 84th birthday. Send him nudes. Plenty of them. Right. He's advertising. Send nudes.
And with that, I will say thank you all for coming out. God bless you and good night.